My dear friends, I want to share with you a powerful truth about how your inner dialogue can completely reshape your reality in a very short time. When I say transformation can happen in just 3 days, I am not speaking of wishful thinking, but of a deep shift in the way you speak to yourself within. Your inner conversation is not the random noise of thoughts that most people experience. It is the deliberate way you speak within yourself, the way you define your identity, your life, and your reality. This inner speech is not separate from creation itself. It is the creative force that shapes your entire experience of life. When it is said, "In the beginning was the Word," it points to this inner word, your inner speech. Everything begins there. Your consciousness speaks inwardly first, and then life reflects it outwardly. You are the one operating this inner power, whether you realize it or not. If you can maintain a steady, intentional inner conversation aligned with your desired state for just 3 days, you begin to shift the direction of your life. The key is not random positive thinking, but speaking to yourself as though your desire is already fulfilled. You do not say, "I hope it happens," or "it will come someday." Instead, you speak and feel as the person who already has it. If you want wealth, you talk to yourself as someone who is already secure and abundant. If you want love, you think and feel as someone already loved. If you want health, your inner speech reflects wholeness and vitality. The most important element is feeling. Your inner words must feel natural, not forced. They must feel real to you in the present moment. This feeling is what anchors the inner state. Each morning, before fully engaging with the world, your inner conversation should begin from your fulfilled desire. As you move through the day, you remain faithful to that inner state, regardless of what circumstances appear. External events are not stronger than your inner direction unless you allow them to be. If a thought of doubt arises, you do not fight it. You simply replace it immediately with the version of truth that supports your desired reality. For example, instead of "this is not working," you shift to "everything is unfolding perfectly for me." Your last thoughts before sleep are especially important because they continue shaping your subconscious mind throughout the night. So you fall asleep in the feeling that your desire is already real. During these 3 days, your inner dialogue must also be supported by gratitude. Not gratitude for something that might come later, but gratitude as if it is already yours now. This reinforces the feeling of fulfillment. You will also notice that your outer speech begins to reflect your inner speech. How you talk to others, how you respond to situations, and how you describe your life all begin to align with your new internal state. This process requires awareness. You begin by observing your thoughts without judgment. Then you consciously choose to redirect them whenever they do not match the state you are creating. Over time, this becomes a natural habit. What matters is not perfection, but persistence. Every time you return to your chosen inner state, you strengthen it further. Even if you slip, you simply return again without self-criticism. Your self-concept is being reshaped in this process. You are not just trying to get something. You are becoming the person who naturally experiences it. That shift in identity is what produces lasting change. Speak to yourself as that person would speak. Think as that person would think. Feel as that person would feel. Let your inner world become a living experience of the reality you desire. When your inner conversation remains steady and aligned for 3 days, you set into motion a deep inner shift. Life then begins to reorganize itself around this new state of consciousness. Remember, your world is not separate from your inner speech, it is a reflection of it. If you change the inner, the outer must follow. So begin now. Guard your inner conversation carefully. Let it be deliberate, loving, and aligned with the reality you choose. Speak from the end, live from the end, and remain faithful to that inner state. In doing so, you will discover that transformation was never about time or effort, but about the state you consistently occupy within yourself. Everything in your life begins by aligning with the inner picture you hold. Whatever you are aiming for, love, health, success, or personal transformation. You must first experience it internally as something already complete. Let yourself feel the relief, joy, and gratitude of it being real right now. The more natural and vivid this feeling becomes, the less your logical mind resists it, because you are no longer trying to imagine, you are simply inhabiting it. At first, this may sound like imagination with no real effect on the physical world. But imagination is not separate from reality. It is the deeper layer from which reality is formed. What you see with your senses is only the final reflection of something that already exists within consciousness. Your inner world is not reacting to life, it is producing it. Think of consciousness like a receiver. Just as a radio connects to different stations by tuning into specific frequencies, your awareness connects you to different versions of reality based on your inner state. When you fully imagine your desire as complete, you are shifting into the frequency of that reality. The key is staying there instead of briefly touching it and then falling back into old thinking patterns. This is where discipline matters. You cannot simply imagine something once and expect lasting change. You must consistently return to that state until it becomes your natural way of being. Faith is essential here, not blind hope, but a deep inner certainty that what you assume inwardly is real, even before it appears outwardly. To build this faith, start small. Imagine simple events, a message from someone, a small opportunity, or something you've been wanting to experience. Feel it as real, then release it without stress. Do not force it or obsess over it, just accept it as done. When these small imaginal experiences begin to reflect in your outer world, your confidence in this process naturally strengthens. With time, you realize your imagination is not fantasy, it is creative perception. And as your trust deepens, you can hold larger assumptions with the same calm certainty. But the real purpose is not just to obtain things, it is to awaken to your deeper identity as the conscious source of your experience. As you continue, your awareness shifts. You move from feeling limited by circumstances to recognizing yourself as the one shaping them. What once felt like external control begins to feel like inner creation. This is the real transformation. Not just changed conditions, but changed consciousness. One powerful method for working with this is revision. Instead of accepting past events as fixed, you mentally re-experience them in a new way. You reshape them in your imagination so they align with the outcome you prefer. Over time, this changes how you feel about your past and even how your present unfolds, as though a new version of your life has always been in place. This does not mean denying reality. It means understanding that your awareness is the true foundation of reality, and by shifting it, everything else reorganizes around it. Another powerful technique is the practice used before sleep. As you drift into rest, you repeat a simple statement that implies your desire is already fulfilled. At that moment, your mind is more open, and the feeling behind your words sinks deeper. For example, if you desire abundance, you might quietly feel gratitude for already being secure and supported. If you seek health, you rest in the feeling of wholeness. The key is not the sentence itself, but the emotion of fulfillment behind it. Falling asleep in that state allows it to settle into your deeper mind. Still, many people struggle when their inner vision contradicts their current reality. But what you see outside is not the source of truth, it is only a reflection of what was previously held inside. Your senses report the past, not what is being created now. This is why trust in your inner assumption is necessary even when nothing around you seems to confirm it yet. Over time, you may notice subtle signs, small shifts, coincidences, unexpected interactions, or opportunities. These are not the final result but early indicators that your inner alignment is taking effect. Acknowledge them, but do not depend on them. Stay rooted in the feeling itself. At the same time, you must learn a deeper form of detachment. This does not mean not caring. It means not depending on external reality to validate your inner state. You remain calm in the knowing that what you have accepted internally must eventually take form. When this detachment is strong, anxiety fades and resistance disappears. In that state, you are no longer waiting or forcing outcomes. You are simply living from the assumption that it is already done. From this place, life begins to respond in ways you could not have planned. The pressure to control everything dissolves and things begin unfolding naturally. Another key aspect is your inner dialogue. Most people unknowingly repeat patterns of doubt, fear, and limitation within themselves. But when you become aware of this internal conversation, you can intentionally reshape it. You begin speaking within yourself as the person who already has what they desire. Instead of arguing with reality in your mind or replaying problems, you imagine conversations that reflect success, peace, and fulfillment. You hear yourself speaking confidently, living your desired life internally. The more real this becomes in your inner world, the more naturally your outer world begins to mirror it. This does not mean avoiding action. Action still happens, but it becomes natural and effortless. Instead of forcing results from a place of lack, you act from a state of already having. Decisions feel clearer, timing feels right, and opportunities seem to appear without struggle. When you truly shift your inner state, there is a natural unfolding period. The first stage is the initial acceptance of the new assumption. Then it deepens, influencing your thoughts and emotions. Old patterns may temporarily resist, but this is part of the transition, not failure. Finally, the new state becomes stable. It no longer feels like something you are practicing, it feels like who you are. At that point, your outer world begins to reorganize itself to match this internal certainty. What was once a mental effort becomes a natural way of being. You no longer chase results or question timing. You simply remain in the state, knowing that everything external is already moving in response. In the end, this is not about techniques alone. It is about identity. When you consistently assume a new inner state, you are not trying to change your life. You are changing the version of yourself that experiences life. And as that shift becomes stable, your reality has no choice but to follow. In these final stages of inner transformation, something very important begins to happen. Life may seem like it is moving in the opposite direction of what you desire. It may look like nothing is working, or even that things are getting worse. But this is the point where most people misunderstand the process. What you are actually experiencing is not failure, but the final rearrangement of your reality. The outer world is not resisting your desire, it is responding to your new inner state. And sometimes that response appears chaotic before it becomes clear. This is why the last phase often feels the most confusing. It is like the darkest moment before sunrise. Everything seems still, uncertain, or even contradictory. But underneath that surface, something precise and intelligent is already in motion. Your assumption has already been accepted internally, and now life is reorganizing itself around it. Think of it like a seed breaking through soil. From above, it looks like pressure and resistance. But in reality, that pressure is what helps the seed grow. The same is happening in your life during this phase. What feels like delay or opposition is actually movement toward fulfillment. During this time, people may begin to behave differently without explanation. Situations that felt fixed may suddenly loosen. Opportunities that were not visible before may appear unexpectedly. These shifts are not random. They are the natural outcome of your inner state taking form externally. The mistake many make is constantly checking the outside world for proof. But the outer world always reflects what has already been established within. It cannot show you the result before the internal shift completes. That is why trust is necessary. You must continue living from your new assumption even when nothing around you seems to confirm it yet. Think of it like holding a role in a performance. An actor does not step in and out of character based on the scene, they remain consistent. In the same way, your inner identity must remain steady regardless of appearances. What seems like disruption is actually alignment in progress. Life is not becoming unstable. It is being reorganized in a way that supports your inner decision. The process is precise, even if it does not match your expectations. There is a deeper intelligence at work here, one that does not require effort or force from you. Your only role is to remain in alignment with the state you have chosen. When you stay consistent internally, everything externally begins to adjust naturally. Even the things that appear to oppose your desire may end up becoming part of its fulfillment. What once looked like a blockage may turn out to be the very path through which your outcome arrives. This is how the process often unfolds, unexpected yet perfectly arranged. During these hours of transition, every moment carries meaning. Nothing is wasted. Every interaction, delay, or shift is part of a larger unfolding that is already in motion. Your task is not to control it, but to remain steady within it. Instead of reacting emotionally to what you see, return again and again to your inner certainty. Each time you do, you strengthen the new pattern. Each time you fall back into doubt and correct yourself, you reinforce your transformation even more. There will be moments when circumstances test your focus. These are not signs of failure. They are simply points in the process where your inner state is being strengthened. What appears as contradiction is actually part of the path unfolding correctly. Think of it like driving at night. You do not see the entire road at once, only what the headlights reveal. Yet you continue forward without hesitation. In the same way, you do not need to see the full outcome right now. You only need to stay aligned with your inner knowing. The key is not force or struggle. It is quiet consistency. Not forcing belief, but allowing your chosen state to feel normal within you. When it begins to feel natural, the outer world has no choice but to reflect it. As these 72 hours unfold, you are not waiting for change. You are living as the change already completed. That shift in identity is what triggers everything else. So remain steady. Do not be distracted by appearances. Do not abandon your inner certainty for temporary conditions. What is unfolding is already in motion, and it is moving toward completion. And when the process settles, you will realize that nothing external was ever truly against you. It was all part of the same intelligent unfolding that began the moment you changed within. As you keep moving forward in this awareness, life begins to unfold in a way that feels more natural and aligned, as if each step is quietly guiding you exactly where you need to go. You don't have to see the entire path ahead. You only need to hold steady in the assumption you have chosen. When this understanding settles in, your reaction to difficulties begins to change completely. Instead of feeling discouraged when things seem to contradict your desire, you start to see these moments differently. You recognize them as signs that old mental patterns are breaking down, making space for something new to emerge. And something important happens right before fulfillment becomes visible. Things often seem to intensify. Challenges may feel stronger. Circumstances may look more uncertain. But this is not a sign that things are going wrong. It is usually the final movement of old patterns trying to resist their own dissolution. In these moments, your only real task is simple. Stay faithful to your assumption. There is no need to argue with reality, no need to force outcomes, and no need to mentally fight what you see. Your role is to remain steady inside the feeling that your desire is already fulfilled. Every real transformation follows this same rhythm. Before the shift becomes visible, there is always a period where things seem unclear or even opposite to what you want. But this is not randomness, it is the natural order of change. Just like a seed must break open before it can grow, your old inner patterns must loosen before something new can fully take shape. What looks like opposition on the surface is actually the rearrangement of conditions underneath. During this stage, your outer world begins adjusting itself to match your inner state. People may start reacting differently to you. Situations that once felt fixed may suddenly become flexible. Opportunities that were hidden may start appearing in unexpected ways. None of this is coincidence. It is the result of an internal shift expressing itself outwardly. But if you keep checking the outside world for proof too early, you will miss what is actually happening. The change is already in motion before it becomes visible. Just like growth happens underground before it appears above the surface, your reality is reorganizing itself before it shows any clear sign. Think of it like rearranging a room. At first, everything looks messy. Things are out of place, nothing feels settled, and it may even look worse than before. But that temporary disorder is part of the process of creating something better. The same principle applies to your life during transformation. What feels like confusion or breakdown is actually a deeper restructuring. Old patterns are dissolving so new ones can take their place. And as this happens, not only your external circumstances begin to shift, but your internal world also changes. Thoughts that used to repeat themselves begin to fade. Emotional reactions become softer. Your inner responses naturally begin to align with your new assumption. This process is not random. It follows a precise and consistent pattern. Just like natural laws in the physical world, consciousness operates with reliability. Water boils at a specific point. Seeds grow under certain conditions. And in the same way, your inner assumption, when held steadily, begins to reshape your experience within a natural cycle of time. Looking back, you may notice that every major shift in your life began with an inner change first. Even when you weren't aware of it, something inside you shifted before your outer world followed. This is how change always works. It starts within and then expresses itself outside. The reason things feel delayed or inconsistent is not because the process is unreliable, but because consciousness itself is inconsistent. When your assumption is steady, the outcome must follow. The law does not change, it simply reflects what you consistently hold within. Think of gravity. It does not sometimes work and sometimes fail. It responds the same way every time. In the same manner, your sustained inner state produces a corresponding result without exception. When you truly understand this, you stop hoping and start knowing. You stop questioning and start trusting. This principle is not influenced by your past, current situation, or other people's opinions. It responds only to what you consistently assume and feel within yourself. It works the same for everyone, at all times, without exception. Every successful change you have ever experienced followed this same inner process. Nothing about the law was different. It was your state that determined the outcome. When doubt is dominant, results feel delayed. When certainty is steady, results unfold naturally. To work with this effectively, your awareness must remain aligned throughout the day. When you wake up, your first awareness should come from your fulfilled state. As you move through your day, your inner dialogue should reflect that same state. And as you fall asleep, you return once again to the feeling that it is already complete. The challenge most people face is inconsistency, moving back and forth between belief and doubt. But this process requires clarity. You cannot hold two opposite states at the same time. Your consciousness must be directed with purpose. Even your emotions must support your assumption. It is not enough to think correctly while feeling something completely different. Your emotional tone should naturally reflect the reality you are accepting within yourself. This requires attention. You begin to notice your thoughts more carefully, your reactions more consciously, and your inner dialogue more deliberately. Each mental movement either supports or weakens your chosen state, and you become more aware of that in real time. There is no room for drifting during this period. You cannot casually return to old mental habits and expect new results. Precision matters. Just like a system requires alignment in all its parts to function properly, your inner world must also be aligned for your outer world to respond. When everything inside you begins pointing in the same direction, something powerful happens. The process becomes stable, natural, and reliable. The inner assumption no longer feels like something you are trying to maintain. It becomes the way you see yourself and your life. And once that happens, the outer world has no choice but to reflect it back. The entire teaching comes down to one simple but powerful truth. Your inner assumption is the starting point of everything you experience. Life does not randomly happen to you. It unfolds from the state you consistently hold within yourself. When you learn to remain steady in the feeling that your desire is already fulfilled, even when external reality seems to disagree, you begin to shift the foundation of your entire world. The outer conditions may fluctuate, appear uncertain, or even temporarily contradict your inner vision. But these are only surface movements of a deeper reorganization already taking place. If you stay faithful, calm, and aligned with your chosen state, everything around you must eventually adjust to match it. This is not about forcing change, but about becoming the version of yourself from which the desired life naturally flows. When inner certainty becomes stronger than outer doubt, transformation is no longer something you chase, it becomes something you embody, and life quietly reshapes itself around that inner truth.